Hi, Andrila. Andrila, how are you?
I'm good, sir.
Good. Sorry, I was not well, so we can start. We will just wait for a few minutes. We'll get started. I expect two more people to join us. Just give us 2, 3 minutes. So, meanwhile, did you face any problem installing the software, or all good?
No, sir.
Perfect. Okay. So, what do you know about Python? What is a Python?
It is a programming language as well as scripting language.
Right, great. So Sunil, can you tell me your background? I know about Unrila and Abir. A little bit about yourself.
My background is MCA
Uh-huh.
in India.
Okay.
But I have worked in pharmacy in different field, but not in IT field.
Okay. Okay, great. Have you done any programming before?
No, I took training, but I know I have gone through, but I have not worked on that in the
Perfect.
real
No,
time.
perfect. Okay. So your your co-participants, Andrila and Abir, they are also new. So okay, we'll go slow, but definitely we'll be
Sure.
making progress every day.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So as Sunil said, it's a programming language. So what do you mean by programming language? So programming language will mean the instructions that we give to computer, right? When we say Spanish language, that means it's a human language, isn't it? And we are communicating with human in Spanish language, or you are communicating here in this session in English language. So these are called human language because we use it to communicate with fellow human beings, right? Similarly, when you want to communicate with computer, we need computer language, right, or the programming language. Okay, so that's the purpose of using programming languages. Okay, now there are many languages. Okay, thousands of language, if not more. Okay, and they all have their own purpose. Okay, so like if we talk about C, C++, Java, Python, these are called high level languages. Okay, so the instructions that we will see are very close to English language. Okay, that's what we call high level language. That means it's closer to human language, isn't it? And the reason we all are here to learn Python is that Python is one of the most popular language, right? And most of the work that we carry out, okay, are in Python. Okay, so whether you talk about developing a game, or you talk about developing a website or machine learning project, everything, okay, you can accomplish using Python. And that's why Python is also called as general purpose programming language. That means you can do it because most of the languages are designed for specific tasks, right? But using Python, you can design any application. Okay, so that's why so that's one more advantage. And I think the biggest advantage of Python is that it is the easiest language to learn. Especially, I have taught people from different background. What I've seen is people who actually come with Java, C++ background, they find it little more difficult to learn this because since it's so easy that they're not able to take it. Think how is that possible? But who are new to programming, they find it very easy to learn, right? So it is easy to learn. It's free, of course. Okay, you can achieve a lot of things. Okay, so what more you need? Okay, it doesn't cost you anything. It is easy to learn and it is very powerful, right? So you don't need anything more, because of which a lot of job opportunities are there in Python. Okay, and as I said, right, you don't have to restrict only to Python. You can move into, based on your interest, you can develop websites using say Django or Flask framework, which is again Python framework. You can develop a machine learning project which is scikit-learn. That's again a Python based libraries. Okay, The reason it is able to perform all these options, all these applications is because there are many people like you and me who are developing what we call as libraries. Okay, so they're developing libraries, and using those libraries, you could achieve designing a website. Okay, so libraries are nothing but collection of programs, okay, pre-written programs, which you just need to call and start using it. And daily, tens and hundreds of such libraries are getting added. Of course, most of these libraries are free, but there are some paid libraries as well for any high-level specialization things. But to learn, all the libraries are free. Okay. Okay. So one more important feature I want to talk about what Python before we actually get into the coding and see what it is that it's a interpreted language. Okay, what does that mean? It means that the code is translated line by line. So why do we need translation? Machine, okay, or computer can only understand binary, right? Which is your two values on and off, right? So we call it as binary programming language, binary language. Okay, and since it's a high level, we write instruction in English. So the commands or the instructions, right? Commands or instructions that we give to computer, okay, through Python has to be translated to their language. That there means machine language, isn't it? Which has to be, okay, has to be in binary language, isn't it? So when we give these instructions, it has to be translated into binary language, and the output that is given to us by the program or by the computer has to be translated back to our language, right? Which is English language. So Python does that very well. So Python takes English commands, convert it to binary language. Okay, when computer gives the answer, it takes that answer and translates back to our language. Okay, so you have two types of translator. One is called interpreter language translator, and another is called compiler. So compiler will take the entire code. Let's see if I write a program, 50 lines of code, 100 lines of code. It will take entire 100 lines of code and it will execute at one time. Compiler. So you have C, C++, Java, .NET, all these are compilers. Okay. Now coming to Python, it's an interpreter-based language. Interpreter means it takes only one line of code at a time and translate back. So that's why we can even do scripting. Okay. So people say that Python is programming language or scripting language, doesn't really matter. Whatever you want to accomplish, you can do it. Since it does line by line execution, people say that it's a scripting language as well. You can use it like a scripting language also. Okay. Okay. Any question on the theory part? Do you understand, what Python is? Okay, a little bit background. Okay, so it was launched almost 30 years back, I think. Yes, 32 years back. Okay, and Guido van Rossum was the guy who was working on ABC programming language. ABC is another programming language, and he was not able to use. He wanted to do something, and the programming language did not support it. So he came up with his own language. Okay, and he called it as Python. Okay, based on his favorite TV series, and this was designed to be a language that he used for himself, but because of its ease of doing programming in Python, people started using it. It became popular, and now it is a global language, and everybody uses it. Especially if you talk about Facebook, Google, they use it for doing their advanced machine learning programming as well. Okay, so in market, I'm going to show you the screen. I'm going to share my screen now, just a second. Okay, guys, so if this meeting ends, since it's a free version of Zoom, so please log back using same link, okay? This also will tell me those who have just opened and ran away from computer, so I will know who ran away from the computer. Okay, so let me share my screen. Can you see my screen, guys?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Perfect. So why it's not allowing me to type? 1 second. Okay. Python.org. Okay, so this is the important website which we have to just remember. Okay, so python.org will is official website. Okay, it's official website, and you can actually do the documentation. You can, as we learn, I will take you to documentation. I'll show you how you can see the documentation, how you can learn more than what we do in the class. I'll talk about documentation. But before that, you need to download the software, isn't it? So when you download the software, and if you are using a Windows machine, you can download Python.3.10.4. Okay, so this is the latest version. And if you're using Windows 7 machine, then you have to install Python 3.8. You can't install Python 3.10. So this is available only for Windows 10, right? So depending upon which version of Windows you're using, you can download this. So first thing first, you need to download it and install it. I'm going to give you the instructions. I'm going to share the the step-by-step process of how to do it. So after the session, I'll send you a document which will tell you how to install and use it. Okay, so generally, our classes are going to be short, maybe an hour or an hour, 15 minutes or so. Okay, so what I want you all to is that just focus on my screen. I'm going to demonstrate everything. Sessions are getting recorded, so you'll get the videos, you'll get the documents, so you'll have all the materials with you. Okay, so when I'm working, it makes sense that you just watch what I'm doing. Okay, and focus on learning. And after the session ends, before next session, just practice. Okay, and that's it. Okay, you don't need anything. So 1 hour of session, 1 hour of practice, 2 hours every day, and within a month we should be able to master this. All right. So yes, so you can download 3.10.4. Okay, or you can go to this list, full list of downloads, and you can actually choose the version that you want to download. Okay, if you come here, you'll find Python 3, 3.10, 3.9, 3.8, 3.7, so on. These are different versions, and you can download whichever version you want to use. If you're learning, go with the latest version, right? So what happens? When Python was developed, 0.9 was the first version. And then they released 1.0, 1.1, so on. They released 2, 2.0, 2.1, so on, right? So as you develop a new version of software, you will change the version name, number, isn't it? After 2.4 or 5, okay, they realized that Python could be made even more simpler. Python could be made even more simpler, and that was in year 2014, 13 or 14. They decided, no, we have to make Python even more simpler. So along with 2.5, they also released 3.5. So Python, we call them as version 2 and version 3. Okay, so many places you will hear Python 2, Python 3. So Python 3 means Python 3.x. Okay, 3.5 was the first version, and Python 2.5. So both were released at the same time, had exact same features. Okay, but 3 was even more simple. That means the code that we have written in Python 2 would not work in Python 3, right? Because syntax. What is syntax? Syntax is nothing but the grammar, the rules, right? So when we talk about our language, we say grammar, right? I am going, you say. You don't say I am go, right? Because there are some rules that we need to learn. So syntax is like that rule. We have to learn some rules. Okay, and in the course, of course, we will learn the rules. So when you learn the rules, you have to follow that rules. Okay, and if the rules changes, it becomes a different language, isn't it? So Python 2 and 3 were developed parallelly because you cannot stop Python 2 immediately, right? Because most of the banking operations were already in Python 2. So in 1415, they said that we will support only for 5 years, and by 2020, we will remove support for Python 2. Okay, so you might see somewhere Python 2 as well. From the website, they have removed it. Okay, so see, if you want the source code, since Python is an open source, okay, that means you can see the source code as well, right? So you can actually download the source code of Python 3 and 2. Okay, but Python 2 has been stopped. But 2020 was the last version of Python 2, which was 2.7. So 2.5, 3.5, then 2.6, 3.6, 2.7, 3.7 were released together. And after 2.7, they stopped maintaining the Python 2. They said, okay, we'll anyway go with Python 3. They announced it in 1415 itself. Okay, and after 2020, they will not support Python 2. Okay, so that's why you don't see. But of course, you can actually see the old version somewhere. Okay, but Python 2, we are not using it. Python 2 is gone out of market. Okay, we will have Python 3 itself. Okay, so this is the latest version, Python 3.10. And okay, see, so if you want, you could go to Python 2.7, but we don't recommend. Okay, don't go with Python 2.7. Okay, see, so 2.7 end of life, and end of support was like 1st Jan 2020, right? After that, they did not support. So 3.7 was also released, okay, at the same time. Okay, so then you have 19, 20, 21, right? So 3.10 is the latest version which has been released. Okay, so if you're on a machine, you can download it from here. If you're on a different machine, I think you have to go to different link. Okay, when you go to downloads, okay, and you can see other platforms. Mac, okay, or if your machine is Mac, go to Mac and you'll find installer for Mac. Otherwise, you can go to other platform. You can download for Linux and other platform. Okay, so when you download it, you get a python.exe. Okay, and just like you install any software, double click on it and install it, right? And when you install it, okay, they said I'll give you document. Okay, I'll give you the complete document. You can see how to install step by step. When you install it, and when you go to the program files, you type Python. See, I have not installed Python 3.10. I have Python 3.8 and 3.9, and I use mostly 3.8. Okay, so why do we need all these versions? All these versions, they come up with some or the other improvement, isn't it? So if I'm developing my software, my application on 3.8, let's say, okay, now when 3.9 comes and you change it, some of the things may not work, right? There could, I'm not saying that it always happens, okay, maybe 1 in 10,000 times that something may not work. So what is recommended is that when you are building an application, don't change your software. You keep the same version, okay? And when you launch it, and when you're trying to add a new feature, then again upgrade, and let's see, you know, you have to test it to make sure that all your code is working fine. And only when it's working fine, you will say that your code supports 3.9 or 3.10. Okay, and it can happen that when you're into Java, you might be working with 2 or 3 different projects. One project might be the old project. Okay, so you might be working with 3.7, and another project, you know, is 3.9 based, and maybe the third project is 3.10 based, right? So it's possible that you can have different application based on different versions. So you need to install all the versions on which you are working, right? And I'll tell you how to maintain. Okay, so when you install it, of course, it will have different path, isn't it? Some will be in the different folder you will install it. So you need to remember the path, okay, and you have to add the path, okay, when we're working on a particular project. So we'll do that, okay, in some time. Today only we'll do it. Maybe in some time we'll do that. Any questions so far? So you understood the importance of Python.org. This is the site where you will get documentation. This is a site where you will get the installer
Sir,
as. Yes, Abir?
sir, if there is if in future version, can there be any new commands in the future version of Python?
Of course. So they will have 3.11 and they'll add something new, 3.12, right? And after some time, they'll decide to go for Python 4. They'll say 4.0, 4.1. So they'll keep doing it. So if there's a major change, right? If there's a major change, they will rename to 4.1. Okay, if it is minor change, okay, then they will keep with 3 constant and they'll keep increasing the second number. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so when you install it, just like any software, okay, and you go to command prompt here or in search option, you type Python, okay, you will see 3.10 in your case because you have installed 3.10, right? And you click on it. When you click on it, you will get to see this black screen. Okay, when you see the screen, that means your Python installation is successful. Yes. If you don't see the screen, that means your Python installation is not successful and you need to reinstall it. Okay. So first thing that I want you to do before next session, okay, we'll be meeting 3 days in a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, right? So before Saturday's session, I want you to install it. If you have any problem, you please let us know using WhatsApp. Okay, I'll help you. Okay, so this is the minimum thing that I want you to do, right? And this triple angular bracket that you see is called Python prompt. Okay, this is called Python prompt, and we can write our Python program here, right? So I can say 3 plus 5 and you hit enter, you get 8. I can say if you have done programming in other languages, you'll be like shocked. What? There is no main, there is no bracket, there is no variable, right? So no, Python, okay, doesn't need all those things. Okay, guys. So if the call gets disconnected, please join back with the same ID. Okay. Okay, so going back to our program, you can type this program here and you can see this, the result. That means our Python has been installed successfully and you can do your Python programming here. Okay. So what is the variable in programming language? Who can answer me that?
Sir, can you repeat the question?
So what is variable in a programming language? Okay, so variable.
A variable is nothing but to hold the data.
Okay, it holds the data temporarily, right?
Yes.
So you can keep changing the value. That's why it's called variable. You can keep changing the value, right? So when you see 3 and 5, these are constant. Okay, 3 means 3, right? You cannot say 3 is 30, right? But I can define a variable name. Okay, because it has variable name, I can say A. So A is called as variable name, and I'm going to assign a value. Okay, so I'm going to assign a value, let's say 5. So I assigned a value 5 to it. So A equal to 5, right? So A is a variable name. Okay, that means it's a name given to a variable which is currently storing value 5. Which is currently storing value 5. So if I have to print it, okay. So if I have to print it, okay, so I will simply say A, you can say 5, or you can use a print function, okay. So function is a predefined set of instructions, predefined code, which is already written for us. Functions are predefined code, which is already written for us, okay? And we will use it to functions, okay? I'm talking about functions, then I'll come to print. So it is a pre-written code, okay, created by developers of Python, and they are available for us to use. Okay, each function will have its own meaning, its own purpose, right? So we can also write our own functions. Maybe after 7-8 classes, we'll also learn to write our own functions. Okay, so we'll be using multiple functions. And when we come to functions topic, we will learn how to create our own functions and classes and things like that. Okay, so this is the second concept that we're learning today. First concept, we learned about variable name, right? So variable name is a name that we give, okay, which can store a value, right? Okay, and then we're talking about print function. Now print is a function. Function is something that which has a predefined meaning. So when you say print, it has a predefined meaning of printing the value onto the screen. Okay, so printing has a meaning where we print the output on the screen. Okay, so this is what you have to remember for now. As we learn more about it, you will get to learn more about the parameters and arguments and things like that. But for now, just remember that print is a function which will print the value that you give to it on the screen. Okay, so I'm giving a variable a to print. And how does function work? Syntax, right? The first syntax that I want to talk about. Syntax is nothing but the grammar for the programming language, isn't it? We write this simple bracket. So functions are always followed by simple bracket. So print is a function and it is followed by simple bracket. Okay, that's how you write. Okay, that's how you write a function. So print, open bracket and closing bracket. Whatever you want to pass or whatever you want to give to print has to be inside the bracket. Okay, I want to give a and I hit enter. So you see that print has printed the value of a onto the screen. Okay, so print has taken a value a and it has displayed, printed on the screen. That's what print does. Yes. So we created a variable a. We added a value 5 to it. Okay, and now we are trying to print the value of a using print. Okay, and it is displayed on the screen. Since it's a is variable, I can assign some other value as well, 50. And now I say print a. Okay, is 50. Now you see that. Okay, the moment I hit enter, I'm getting the output. I'm not doing anything special to get the output here. The moment I say enter, that's it, and you get the output on the screen. So that's why we call this as interpreter language. This is an interpreter language, okay? Or what you call scripting is this. Moment one line command is enough for it to execute. It doesn't need special command to execute it. Right? Okay. So we have seen variable, we have seen print. Okay. Now let's say I want to print hello. Right? I want to print hello. How can I print hello? So if I say print and I type hello, the problem is in this case, Python will not be able to differentiate hello as a text, which I want to print, versus a variable, right? So we said print a, right? When you say print a, it printed the value of a, right? So here it knows that a is a variable. Here too, print will think that hello is a variable, and when I hit enter, see what happens. Name hello is not defined. So it is assuming that hello is a variable which we need to define. We need to give a meaning. We need to give a value to it. For example, if I say hello equal to 10, now if I say print hello, it printed 10 because we have defined the value of hello as 10. But I don't want to print a number, I want to print a text message hello. So what Python says is, again, this is syntax we have to remember. Python says is, if you are assigning a text value, okay, so let's do that. We have to use quotation. You can have a double quotation or single quotation, doesn't matter. But you need to give single or double quotation to print a text value. So even though I have hello, if I print hello without text, without quotation, sorry, you're getting value 10, right? And I say print quotation, hello quotation, so you get the value hello here, right? So new concept. When you want to work with text, whenever you want to work with text, we have to put the text in quotation. Okay, Python accepts both single quotation and double quotation. We have triple quotation also. We'll see after a couple of classes. We can use triple quotation, it has a separate meaning as well. But now just remember that we can print a text value. Okay, to indicate that we are using a text value, we put it in a quotation. Okay. If I want to give it to a variable, of course I can say var1. Okay, so variable name can have a integer also, but it has to begin with a, as a character, which is alphabet 1 to 20, A to Z. It has to begin with alphabet or underscore. Okay, it cannot begin with, I cannot say one var, but I can say underscore var. Okay, so so 1 A to Z, 26 characters are allowed to give a variable name. You can also give a number like 0 to 9. So I can say var1, I can say value 1, right? Okay, or value 10. You can use characters, alphabets, you can use numbers, and only one special character is allowed, that is underscore. You can use underscore also. I can say var underscore 1. Okay, now I'm going to assign a value, let's say hello. Okay, now if I say print var underscore 1, so I'll get hello. Okay, so we have created 3 variables, right? A, hello, and var1. A has value 50, print, hello has value 10, and now var underscore 1 has value hello. So you might have multiple values, of course, but let's say you want to test what is the type of the value. Okay, that means a variable name, when it has a value, so value we call, so this value will be of different types, and this tells us, this dictates what kind of operation you can perform on a variable. If variable is integer numbers, you can perform mathematical operation, right? You can say 5 into 3, 5 into 3, 15, 15 into 10, 150. So if the value is number, we can perform mathematical operation. If your value is text, you can't perform division, multiplication. So it is important for us to know the data type. Okay, data type means kind of data or kind of value that a variable is storing. Okay, or the variable has. So we have a function called type, just like we have a function called print. Yes, so we'll give a couple of more minutes for others to join and we'll get started.
Yeah, sure.
see 3 people. This do it for 4 and 4. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so let's revise for some time what we have done so far. So we discussed about the website python.org. Okay, you have to bookmark it or remember it somehow, because this will be visiting almost like, often we'll be visiting this website. Okay, so we need to download the python.exe software and install it by double clicking, just like you install any software. Okay, then when you install it, you get a screen like this. Okay, this is called Python prompt, and all our programs will be done here. Okay, so here we spoke about variable. Okay, so variables are nothing but a name that we give, okay, and that will store some value. We created variable names like hello, a, and var1, right? And we have seen two types of values so far. Number, when we say a equal to 5 or a equal to 50, that's the number. And we have seen text. So the text will be in quotation, right? If we don't put text in quotation, it will treat, it means Python will treat it like a variable name, right? If you don't give text in a quotation, Python will assume that it's a variable name, right? Which we, of course, we don't want it to be done. Okay. Okay. Yes, Abhi, you have a question here? You raise your hand. Okay. So then coming back to functions, we discussed about first function print, and we saw what print does, right? What does print do? What does print do?
To display the value or to display the text on the screen.
Right. Displays the value onto the screen, right? That's the purpose of print. Awesome. Okay. So I was talking about another function called type. Okay. So if I say type of A, so this printing class int. Okay. Everything in Python is class and object. Okay. Now, what is class and object? Hold on for some time. We will discuss. We have a separate topic. Okay. We'll talk about class and objects. Okay. But for now, just understand that class means it's a group. Okay. I mean, it is much more than a group. Okay. But for now, just assume it to be that class is a group. Okay. And it will have different values. Okay. And it can have multiple values, not just different values. You can have different as well as multiple values. Okay. So when we say a equal to 5 or a equal to 10 or 15 or 20, the 15, 10, these numbers belongs to a group called integer. Int is short form for integer. Okay. So we got it as class int. Okay. Class int means it will have values ranging from -infinity to +infinity. Any value, any integer value, right? Not any value, any integer value. Okay. Okay. So integer, of course, if you must have done it in your maths class. Integer means it will not have decimal point, but both plus and minus numbers are acceptable. So -100, -99, 0, 1, 2, 5, 10, 100. All these numbers are example of integer. Integer means whole value, okay, without any decimal part, but it can have plus or minus sign. What is natural numbers? What are natural numbers? Mathematics, not Python, mathematics. Natural numbers are numbers starting from 1. Okay, so 0 is not natural number. Minus numbers are not natural number. Natural numbers are 1, starting with 1, which we are countable, right? You can count on fingers, right? So you can say 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are called natural numbers. Integer numbers are whole numbers without decimal part. Okay, and it can have both plus or minus. Okay, so since the value of A is 50, the type of A is integer. So this is the first data type that we are learning. Data type or type of data. Well, integer. Okay, integer means plus minus values without decimal part. Okay, if I assign A to 50.1, no longer it is integer, isn't it? If I say type of A, you get float. Okay, so you get float. Float values are values with decimal values. So 50.1 minus 50.1, even 50.0. Okay, 50.0 is also a float, not integer. Okay. Okay, so we have seen two types of data so far, or two types of number data, right? Both are numeric. So first type of numeric data is integers, which will not have decimal part, and second type of numeric data that we have seen will have decimal part. Awesome. Okay. The third type, okay, which we have already seen, is the text data, isn't it? So text data is where var1, right? So if I say var1, you see hello. Now if I say type of var1, what do you expect to see? str. str is a short form for string. Okay, just like you have int short form for integer. Okay, str is short form for string. So when you see str, it means that the value that is there in that variable is a text value. Okay? So hello is a text value, and value inside that variable is the text value. So you get str. Okay. So here I'll take pause from programming and ask me the questions. Any questions so far? No, all good. And when you don't understand, when I'm going fast, please stop me. Okay. I will repeat 2-3 times so that we understand, because I know all of you, I can say, have not done programming for a long time. So I'm going to repeat it 2-3 times. You stop me if you don't understand, right? Focus on the screen, right? You can practice it later. I'm going to give you the code. I'm going to give you the video. You can practice it. But for now, just focus on the screen. Okay. See, this is Python prompt, okay, and this is not very convenient to use. Okay, this is not very convenient to use. So what people have done is they have come up with softwares, okay, which can work with Python, where we can develop our programs. We call them as IDE. Okay, IDE, integrated development environment. Okay, IDE, integrated development environment. Okay, the softwares. Okay, and where you can do Python program. The one that I have is called PyCharm. Okay, you can use Jupyter Node, Anaconda, and the document will have few more names. Okay, you can choose, even Eclipse has it. Okay, so you can develop any, you can install any such IDE which supports Python, and you can start programming. My personal favorite is PyCharm. Okay, so this is a PyCharm software, and this is designed by a company called JetBrains. Okay, so I'm going to show you it. I need to close. These are the things that I did in the last session. Okay. if we have to download it, we have to go to JetBrains. Okay, and you can say, or you can say PyCharm download. Okay, it will automatically PyCharm download. It will automatically take you to a company called jetprints.com. You click here. Okay, you see the screen, isn't it? So when you say PyCharm download, okay, PyCharm, it will take you to this website. Okay, here you see you have professional edition and community edition. Professional is for people who are developing application software for companies, okay, and this is paid. The community edition is totally free. Community edition is totally free, okay, and this is for us, okay, people who are learning and developing the applications to learn, right, not to make money but to learn. So okay, so this is the community edition, and you click on this one. When you click on this one, you will be able to download it. Okay, and when you download it, you have to install it. Okay, and this is again like installing any software. When you install it and start, you will see a screen like this. Okay, again, color can be black in color here. I have changed this to white, but don't worry about the color. Okay, the newer version of PyCharm has a black screen. Okay, now people are talking about black because it uses less power, right? So actually, you can save some power by using black screen. Is there any question there?
Sir, to use PyCharm, do we need the actual Python app?
Yes, you do need Python. Okay, because PyCharm works on Python only. Okay, so first you have to download Python, and then you install PyCharm. Okay, so when you download it, okay, and you install it, you will get a screen like this. Okay, and when you're using for the first time, you will actually see something like this. Okay, this will also pop up when you're using it for the first time. So we call it as projects. So projects is nothing but a folder where all your programs will be saved. So when we do the programming, of course, we'll be creating different files for doing different programs, and all these files will be saved in a single folder. And we call that folder as project. Okay, so it will ask you to give the project name, or nothing but give a folder name where you want all the files to be stored, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is the path. Okay, so I have it here. See, Python training project / Python project. Okay, and this is my project. You can give it. You can define your own path. Okay, so that is point number one. Point number two is, okay, you can, okay, if you're using for the first time, this will be blank. Okay, this will not be there. Okay, I have it because I've used it before. You'll have new environment. Okay, new environment, you'll say virtual environment, it will be there. You need to select the path where the Python is installed. Okay, now you see that I have two Python installed. So it is asking me, do you want 3.9 or 3.8.3? Okay, if you have only one version, it will show you only one version. So this is where, so I told you, right, you have to install Python because PyCharm, okay, works on Python. So you need to install Python and then give the Python path to the PyCharm so that PyCharm knows where your Python is. Yes? and you create it. I'm going to close it because I don't want to create. I already have it. But when you could have clicked on create, and it will create a screen like this. Okay, so here these are all the files which I have. You will have this. This is ML is a project name. Okay, so you'll have your project name here. And if you want to create a new file, click on the project, right click on the project, and you say new, and you say Python file. Okay, so new Python file, and I can give it a name. I'll say I will say prog11, prog11. You can give your own file name. Don't give spaces. Okay, not only Python. When you are creating a file name, better not to give spaces. It can create some problems. You can give underscore if you want to. Okay, don't give spaces. Okay, so you create prog1 and click on Python file. First option, and it will open a Python empty screen. Okay, for us to write our Python program. Is it clear so far? I'll take a pause for 30 seconds. I want you to revise what we have discussed. Okay, so I'll keep quiet for 30 seconds. Just revise what we have discussed in terms of PyCharm. Okay, how to download, how to get this, and how to download and how to use it. Okay, and then let me know if you have any questions.
Sir,
Yeah,
can you show me the type function again?
I'll come back to it. Just focus on PyCharm for now. All right. So what we did, we went to PyCharm. In the Google, we typed PyCharm download. We downloaded it and we installed it. Okay. Once you install it, you go and you start the PyCharm, and it'll ask you to create a project. So wherever you want your files to be there, you just give that path and give a project name. Project name is the folder name inside which your files will be there. Okay, then you go and click new on file, and you give a file, new Python file, give a file name, and you click on it, you will get a screen like this. Yes, so this has three parts mainly. Left side is your browser, where you can scroll different files or folder. As you create your files, okay, you will see them getting added here. Okay, and then, okay, so this is browser. This is where we type our program. So I'll say print hello, right? Advantage is when you say PR, you see that it's showing us all the possible options that starts with or that has PR. Okay, so even if you forget the function name, okay, even if you remember few words, few letters, you can actually get the complete function name. Okay, so that's why it's also called as intelligent editor. Okay, it is intelligent, it makes programming faster. And when I enter content here, right, I say let me add a variable. I say var1 equal to, say, good day, right? And here I say var1, see, suggesting me, right? I can select and hit enter. So it saves our time, right? And our, so our program is ready. Now see here, when I hit enter, right, it did not run, unlike the Python prompt. It is designed that way. See, when you're learning for the first time, right, when you're learning, I would recommend you to use Python prompt, okay, because you can actually see the syntax, you can see how it works. But once you're comfortable, right, then we don't need to see the output of every line, right? When you write 100 lines of code, okay, you don't want to see the output of every line. You want to first code because you are comfortable. You don't want to, you want to see the end result of 50th line or 100th line, right? So you put down all your lines of code here. When you are done, when you want to run, so this is a feature which IDEs provide. Okay. So we are done. Now let's say I'm done. I want to print this output. So I'll go to run. Okay. In run, okay, for the first time when you're running, you click on run option. Okay, and pick your file from this list, prog 11, and you will see the output here down. Okay, so here you write this editor. This is browser. You can browse to the files, and your output will be displayed here down bottom. Okay, so Abir wanted to see type. So I'll say type, and I want to do the type of var1. Okay, now see here, when I run it, okay, it did not do the print here. You have to specifically say print in PyCharm. Okay, so when you're using PyCharm or Visual Studio, VS Code, right? Because there is VS Code, Visual Studio, all these clips, you have to write print. Okay, if you don't say print, it will not print. Okay, it is, so there is a type var1, it has calculated the type, but since we have not asked to print, it will not print. So you can put print here. So see here, I'm putting two functions. You can put any number of functions in a line. I'm putting type as first function and print as second function. So type function is inside print, and when you run it, it will print the type class str. Yes.
Yes.
Sunil, any questions so far?
No, sir. I'm okay.
Yeah. Andrila? Can't hear you.
So me?
Yes.
No, sir.
All clear? Sure?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, so one more thing, let's see. So see, to use a Python on your machine, you need python.exe installed, isn't it? That's the minimum thing. If you want to, have a better way of programming, you need to have one of the IDEs installed. Okay, whether it is PyCharm or Jupyter Notebook or Anaconda or VS Code or Eclipse or Vim. These are different IDEs which are available in the market, and most of them are free. Okay, you can download and start using it. Okay. Now let's say you don't want to do anything on your software. Oh, sorry, you don't want to use any software on your machine, on your laptop. Or let's say you don't have access somewhere. You are out of town and you don't have your laptop, but you want to practice Python program. You can do it online. Okay, so we have something called as Google Colab. Okay, so here you can say Google Colab. Google Colab, okay, the link is collab.research.google.com. Google Colab is an online Python editor. Okay, and you don't have to install any software. Let's say your laptop is not supporting Python. Okay, your laptop is less powerful and you have to deal with more data, right? So you can use Python Colab, sorry, Google Colab. So when you click on Google Colab, it will open a screen like this. And at the bottom, you have to click on New Notebook. When you click on New Notebook, it will open an editor for us to do our programming. So first time it takes some, it takes a little more time. So Google Colab has given us a Python editor to do our programming. Okay, so you can change the name. I'm saying prog11, and this file is automatically saved in your, when you click on run. Okay, when you click on run, this is automatically saved in our Google Drive. Okay, you don't even need to download it. Okay, this will be saved in your Google Drive, so you can even refer in your future. Okay, so let's say I write a program here. I say var1 equal to hello, and I'll say print here, print var1, and I say print type of var1. So see what I'm doing here is, first I'm doing a print function here, right? In print, inside print we have type. So the innermost function will be called first. So even though you're using two functions, since type is inside print, first innermost function is called. Then outer, and finally outermost. So here we have only two functions, innermost and outermost. So first innermost will be called, and then the outermost will be called. Okay, so innermost says type of var1, it is string. Print says, okay, display it on the screen. So when I run it, okay, so see, you get the output here itself. Okay, so for this, you don't have to install any software. You can start programming right away, right? And for, let's say you want to save the file on your computer, on your personal computer. So you go to file, this first option file, and say download, and you'll have two options, .py and .ipnyb. IPNYB is called notebook. So your Anaconda, Jupyter notebook will also be able to use that. Advantage of using IPNYB over PYA, you can save it. The output is also saved. Okay. When you do PY, only your Python code will be saved. When you do notebook, it will save even the output. So, you know, it saves like an HTML file. Okay, so you can save the output also. Okay, but it's up to you. Okay? You can download it PY or IPNV. PY is better because, you know, code, you only want code, right? Output will vary depending upon the input values, isn't it? Yes. So this
Yes,
you can use Colab, you can use, okay, for your online work. Okay, you don't have, you can connect through your tab, your phone, okay, through laptop when you don't want to install anything on your laptop. Okay. Any question here, anyone? Okay. Last concept of the day is called this comment. Hash is called comment. Okay. Hash, let's say there's some text you want to write and you don't want computer to, you know, to understand, or you don't want computer to execute. Like for example, if I print hello, okay, let's say if I say how are you, right? And when I run it, okay, second time you can directly click on this run or this run. Even if you click on this run, same file. First you have to select the file name, right? Once the file name is selected, you can see the file name here. Okay, it means it is our file. So this file name and this file name has to match. If it is matching, you can click here or this green button down here. But if this file doesn't match, then you have to go to run, click on run, and select the file from here like this. Okay, so syntax error, because it is trying to execute it and it doesn't understand. Syntax error means language grammar error, right? I don't understand what you have typed. So we use comment. When we use comment hash, we are saying to the Python that Python, ignore whatever I'm writing. Okay, ignore what I am writing. Ignore what I am writing. This is for me to use, not for you. Right? When we write something for us, then we put comment. Okay, and good programs will have a lot of comments. See, after a few weeks, few days, when you visit your own program, you'll forget why you did certain thing. Okay, so it is always good to put a comment. And your programs generally in companies will be written by multiple people. You write today, after 1 week, somebody else will add some code to it. Right? Now, you have written in a certain way. And if I have to work on it, I will not know your thought process. So it is always better to put comment. Okay, comments are for human, not for machine, not for program. So Python will ignore anything which has this hash. Okay, I've seen some questions from you. We will talk about it. Okay, so with that, we will end our discussion today. Okay, let's quickly revise few things. Okay, so we say that Python is a high level interpreter language. Okay, it is both programming and scripting language, right? Okay, we discussed about two functions today. We discussed about print. Okay, Python is also case sensitive language. Python is also case sensitive. Okay, here upper character, lower character has a different meaning. So when you're writing functions, 99% of functions are all small. There are some caps we'll see later. Okay, most of 99% functions are all small, right? So print, we have seen print. It prints whatever we give, right? It prints the content on the screen, right? This is what we have seen. We have seen type. Type, okay, gives us the data type of the value, right? So data types we have seen so far today: int, which is integer. We have seen float, and we have seen str, string, right? So integer are numbers without decimal values. Floats are number with decimal values. Both will accept plus or minus values. Strings are text. Okay, after that we have seen variable names. Variable names, it's a text name which will hold the value, right? And value can be integer, float, or string. Also, we have seen, correct? And what else have we seen about variable? Yes, it can have alphabets, numbers, and underscore only. It should not, or it cannot begin with number. The name cannot. Okay, when I say name, it is variable name. Variable name cannot begin with numbers, right? Then we spoke about installations, right? So we spoke about Python software, okay, which is download and install from python.org website. And then we spoke about IDE, PyCharm, right? It is from jetbrains.com. That's the website. Okay, install the community edition, which will have black color button. Okay. Then we spoke about Google Colab, right? It is online platform provided by Google to practice and develop Python applications. Correct? Then we spoke about installing and using PyCharm, right? So I said create. So okay. So first install point. Okay. First install Python. Okay. Then install PyCharm Community Edition. Then click on the installer or install, not installer, installed application, right? So if I type PyCharm here, so you'll see PyCharm Community Edition. Click on this. When you click on this, it will open the application, and it will ask for the project name, right? It will ask for the project name. Enter the project name with path. Correct? So this is nothing but folder where programs will be saved. Once you have the project open, then click on new Python file. Give a name and type your code or instructions, okay, in the editor, right? Exactly where we are doing it. Once done, then click on run and choose your file name and click on the file name. Output will be visible at the bottom of the PyCharm here, isn't it? And finally, we learned about comment. Hash is used for comment. Okay. Any questions so far, guys?
Sir,
Yes.
if the print command, if we add a variable, then comma,
We'll do it
then put
tomorrow. Okay.
comma.
Hold on. We'll go step by step, Abir. Let's not fly. Let's go. Let's run, or maybe let's walk. Let's not fly. Okay. Hold on for the next class. Anything else, Abir?
No, sir.
Right. Anything else? Sunil, Mandrila, all clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please practice. Please install the softwares. Please practice this much, and we'll see you in the next session. Okay. We'll do some more programs. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes,
I'll share the recording soon. Okay. So yeah, have a good evening, good day, guys, and we'll see you on Saturday. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, sir. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you. Bye.